Hi class, I wanted to give you some video feedback. I'm going to look at these as a first-time site visitor. I have already seen them, but I want to give you feedback for the user, right? So you've been looking at it closely, and now we're going to see what it's like to actively use it, for your site visitor. All right, good job, Baron. I like the clarity. I like that it's easy to read. Your headers are clear. Make sure that everything, this looks like stock, but it may be yours. Make sure that everything is yours because as a cinematographer, that's what people are expecting. Let's see. So you want to make sure you remove those things that you're not linked up to. All right. And I do recommend at least a LinkedIn where you can begin to list the things that you've worked on. And when people ask you about it, you won't have to remember dates. You have everything right there. And it's important for you to keep that record where you can find it. I like these over here, the animation, but be careful. Hopefully it's not behind this whole thing because that will really slow your site down. Animations do slow your site, so you want to be careful. Of course, it won't for you so much because you already have it in your cache, but make sure you check that for the user. Now, there are some things here. I know it seems like we don't want to clutter our header, and I appreciate that, but we do need to put what you do there because while we don't know what page someone will actually end up falling on your site when they search, and we want them to be able to see it every page that they're on. The other thing in your navigation, you want to move this to your right. This needs to be at the end. One of the things with this site is you have some duplicates. When you go to your about, we have this, right? When we go to your home, if we scroll, see it's taking a while to load that home page. It's the animation and the images, and that you have multiple strips on it. So we've got this exceptional. Okay, we really only need one of these, and you do have the same image, so we want to make sure that we only use one. So that means either deleting this or linking this in your navigation to here. That is finding the anchor line and linking that to this. The easiest thing to do, though, is to take this out. That's the thing about scrolling one pages. And then just keep what you already have linked. I would probably center this, your footer. Your portfolio, this is great. I really like how simple it is, how clear it is. The image video looks great. I'm a little confused down here. I don't have anything that really tells me what this is. And so you either have to delete these or you have to give a description. And you want to make sure you grid them equally. All right. So make sure your vertical spacing is equal and your horizontal spacing is equal. Okay. So let's take a look at the mobile and see what we have here. Got a little ad for Squarespace, interestingly. Okay, so I'm not sure why my connection disappeared. Okay, so here we are. That's taking me to my home page. Okay. Let's see. Talked about that. Okay. And the same thing is true with, we do want to put your contact at the end. This page is not evident. I think you're trying to link to this maybe, in which case it would be called services. Or maybe you take this out, but contact needs to be down here. The other thing is you've got contact page, right? Left align that. Work on the reflow of this, extend this text box so that doesn't happen. Make sure this is a Google Voice, a free Google Voice. Fix that. Okay, you have these linked. You just need to do it on the other. And down here. And this is kind of a deep footer. But here's the thing. You have the same thing as you had with your About, right? You have 2 pages. So the easiest thing to do is to go back here and remove this strip. Okay? Or you're going to have to remove the page and add a link here. Link that here instead of to a new page and delete that page because it will still be there on your site. All right, so mainly for you, it's going to be function, and that has to do with being a one-pager, right? So just a few things here that you'll want to correct for your next submission, but otherwise it's looking great. The design is strong. Okay, Joshua, I really was drawn to this. I do think it's a little hard to read what you're doing here. Maybe just a little bigger to help with that. We can see your name, and that's important. Let's close this space up a little bit. That's something to do with this template. And eventually you'll have a Gmail instead of your student. I really liked this page. And when I checked on this, one of the things that this template does, it makes us scroll down to find your work. So one way around that is to have this as a title and then put this and all of this underneath it so that, you know, they can look through these things. Yeah, and then all of these are going to need, usually you can add your description to those right here. And that's going to be in your, when you go over in your pages, you're going to have a collection, and you can go and select the work and change that name. Sometimes you can do it in your media manager, but you do want to change that to something meaningful. And search engines will scan through image names. Okay, so that's important for your keywords. All right, so, okay. Yeah, so these are all from the same place. They feel a little different, but all from the same place, it looks like. Okay. All right, fun. Let's see, so your contact is good. You may want to center this and again use a free Google Voice number. Let's take a look at your mobile. Okay. All right. You can take powered and secured by Wix out. At least I think you can. I may have a paid version, but I think you're able to do that from what I've seen. Okay. If I click on that, you might want to link that to your home page. But otherwise, you've got a great collection. Close some spaces up on your mobile if that's showing for you. And yeah, great start. You've hit everything you needed to. All right, good job. Okay, Asia. We don't technically need a welcome page. We just need to have a welcoming site. And the reason I say this is I wait for something to show up here. There's nothing there, and this is taking up a lot of space. So what you want to do, good job linking up. What you want to do is probably delete this page and just start with your About. Okay. This is taking a little time to load on your mobile. So check how big these files are. But working good. Let's see, you've got your descriptions here. If I click on these, great. Nice job here. Nice. Okay. And I would probably put this in the yellow, if you can go in and change that. Possibly center it with this, in this case. Close up some space. You don't need your footer to be quite that deep. But otherwise, multi-hyphenate, I'm not a fan of that. It doesn't really describe a lot. You know, if you want to use it in your about or something else, but what they call that now will probably change and they'll call it something else. So I would just stick with very clear titles. People don't usually hire, you know, I don't think you're going to find this as a job title. You may find it as a description for what someone is asked to do, but it's not necessarily something. If I were to look for multi-hyphenates, I'm not sure that it would bring up something specific, and we want to be really specific. Okay. All right. We're going to take this out. Okay. You know, you can say this, let's connect and explore, on your contact page if you want. You might check out this text for that style. See how you like it. As long as you're consistent with it. Could be this is taking a while to load, so look at that file size. Okay. Nice. Nice job. All right. Okay, one more for this group. Let's take a look. Julia. You know, when I land here on this page, it does say photography. If I land on it from another page, although I think you've just got a scrolling page, it might not let me know that. So as you add pages, you may want to say what you're doing. I would look for an image that has a little more definition and contrast there. Well, the contrast is there, but you need a range, okay? Probably center that. And got your socials hooked up. Nice. Probably I'd move this down here, at least on your mobile. And yeah, that's the thing. And just taking a photo with your cell phone and a nice background. This is a great background. That can give you, with daylight, can give you a really great image, right? So, good job listing what you're doing here. Love some of these. Okay. 2 contacts on your mobile. Okay, so let's see. If I'm selecting the about, this should be going to your link to your about. Double check on your end. Okay, check the wrapping on that text and this. You wouldn't need that on your home page. If this is in your footer, let's move that to just your about. And we need to make sure we can find your navigation here. Sometimes it's black on black or something. So you'll need to change that. But, okay. All right, so let's see. That needs to go to an about section. Okay, it's trying. Okay, so work on, okay. If that is in your header, if your name is in your header, it should be on every page up here. So check and see. There it is. It's coming up rather slowly. If it's an animation, you want to adjust that speed. I'm going to suggest some of you, not all of you, but some of you consider commas instead of these em dashes that chat loves to use. They're correct, and chat is correct in using them, but I wouldn't use them very often because right now it just looks like chat. But it's not a bad thing. I mean, it is correct, and so maybe do nothing. Maybe we all just embrace em dashes, you know. I do like them. Is this an image of yours? I'm curious. Yeah, so a little bit of arranging there. Yeah. Okay, right. So, yeah, you want to go through and make some choices there. All right. Otherwise, this is a great group. You've done a great job all month, actually. That's why I started with yours. And I'm looking forward to seeing your revisions. What you'll do now is make a bulleted list of the things that you've been challenged to make on changes for your revision, and that will be part of your task 1 when you get to your revision assignment. So go ahead and make your bulleted notes, and I look forward to seeing these updates. Great job, everybody.